I came to New York City during a heat wave and ended up at the beach.
Welcome back to my channel. No, I'm not flying to Hawaii or some nice beach destination. Instead, I'm spending several days in New York City. That's Brighton Beach down there. New York City in the summer is intense. The energy's high, but so is the temperature. On this trip, I was there during a full-blown heat wave, but instead of hiding indoors all week, I found ways to beat the heat and still enjoy the city. Here's how I survived, and how you can too. The truth is, the world is getting hotter, so visiting New York City in the summertime means you'll be in infernal-like weather. The ironic thing is that I had just left a heat wave in Southern California only to find myself in one on the East Coast. At least we will be taking the train from JFK into Manhattan. Sure, the platform might be hot, but nothing compares to the relief of that air-conditioned train rolling in. Of course, we arrive here in New York City during a heat wave. It's only the middle of June, but it's going to feel like August this weekend. That's right, all of the trains now have air conditioning, although the newer ones have stronger AC. And I was cool as a cucumber for that 1-hour ride to Manhattan. Also, if you rack up 12 rides in a 7-day period, the subsequent rides are free, so there you go with free AC.
It's just like what the Danish say. There's no such thing as bad weather, but bad clothing choices. One of the things you can do to stay cool in hot weather is to wear natural fabrics. So this dress here from Ann Taylor Law, it's a linen blend, and linen is a natural fiber which will keep me cool. Because linen is a natural fiber, it means that it's going to ventilate well. So even if I sweat in this dress, no matter, it's going to dry up pretty quickly. But there is one downside to linen, which is that it wrinkles pretty easily. I felt too lazy about taking out the iron to iron it, because what's the point? It's just going to wrinkle again when we get on the subway. Meanwhile, what are you wearing to the family dinner tonight?
I have on my Sgt. Pepper and the Lonely Hearts Club shirt by the Beatles.
Which is 100% cotton, so it's going to breathe pretty easily. And then what about your shorts?
Tech fabrics, so I can, just in case I need to, they work in all types of weather and terrains. In case I see a pool, I can jump in it, and they dry very quickly.
You may ask, why did we choose to come to New York City in the summer than in the spring or fall when the weather is cooler? Well, we come every year to visit family, and this is the best time that works for everyone.
It's almost 6 o'clock, so it's cooled down by a lot, but still, I'm glad that I'm wearing linen.
One of my favorite hacks? Use the subway, not just to get around, but to avoid walking outside in the heat. We use bigger stations like Port Authority or 42nd Street to stay underground as long as possible, especially around crowded areas like Times Square. In this case, walking through the labyrinth provided us protection from the heat and the sun.
Nice air-conditioned train.
Once we got on the train, it was a cool trip to Queens. Also, we were racking up rides to get to our free trips after the 12th ride. We're taking advantage of New York City's viral food scene to stay chill.
One way to cool off during this heat wave is to go to a bakery and get a cold drink.
We're here at Bibble and Sip. Not only are they famous for having cute desserts such as the Totoro-inspired macaron, but they specialize in ice-cold drinks. I normally like my matcha lattes to be hot, but in this case, I'll take it iced. Another place for ice-cold drinks? Try out Machi Machi in Koreatown. Their drinks are next-level refreshing. We're talking creamy, icy, fruity, basically air conditioning in a cup. Their drinks are so cold that you could sit outside on 34th Street and sip it while people watching on a warm summer afternoon. We're not breaking a sweat here.
And that's how you stay cool when the sun goes down, but it's still hot.
We've covered cold drinks, but what about the ice cream? This frozen treat is the obvious antidote for a hot summer day, and here at Mochi Doki, ice cream is taken to a higher level as a mochi ice cream.
This is adorable with this rainbow bench. This is what we got. We got the banana, the almond joy, vegan lychee, and the peach passion. Let's start off with the banana. How is that? Nice solid ice cream in the middle, and the mochi is soft on the outside. Like I said, I normally don't like banana, but I'll make an exception because it's mochi ice cream. That's surprisingly good and refreshing.
We've already talked about drinks and ice cream, but what about real food? Yes, you want to eat cooling foods such as cold noodles, salads, cold pasta dishes, but here we are at Joe Shanghai's in Chinatown, and we're going to try something a little unexpected. Soup dumplings are great when it's cold and also when it's hot. Ah, look how big and juicy these soup dumplings are. Look how they're steaming. Yes, I know it's a strange choice for a hot day, but trust me, this will cool you down. Yes, the liquid may be warm. I mean, the soup may be warm, but you know what it's going to do? It's going to make you sweat and cool you down. And plus, the soup just hydrates you, and there's some sodium in it. Yeah, I know you probably don't want sodium, but you know what? You're sweating so much out there, it is important to replace your electrolytes. I know this as a marathon runner. Let's order another tray of soup dumplings because, after all, it is a heat wave. Not only are the trains air conditioned, but so are the buses. Here we are taking the New Jersey Transit to Hoboken to visit family. This family gathering is going to be chill in its own way. Another way to escape the heat is to go find a place that has a pool. You may consider getting a daytime pass to one of the rooftop pools in New York City. Day passes to rooftop pools can cost anywhere between $80 to $200, and you have to make sure you make a reservation. Or perhaps you book a hotel that already has a pool. That's an alternative, so then that way you don't have to pay for a day pass. Or as a more cost-friendly alternative, you can look at the New York City park system, see if there's any public pools open. Perhaps you can check it out for free or a small fee, or perhaps you're fortunate and you have friends and family who have access to a pool. Fortunately, we do, but then again, we had to go to New Jersey to do that. Anything to get away from the heat for a while, right? Our family's rooftop pool in Hoboken was the ultimate oasis. There's a banana in the pool. Being able to get into the water with a Manhattan skyline right in front of us, it was the perfect way to cool down, recharge, and enjoy the view without the heat and chaos of Midtown. If you can find a pool like this, even just for a day, it's a total summer game changer. Is that right? 6:30 a.m. and it's already 78? Another way to take advantage of free air conditioning is to go shopping. This is New York City after all, so we have the world's largest Macy's store. You can go in there and peruse, get a gift for yourself, maybe others. There's also Bloomingdale's. It doesn't cost anything to go inside and look around. Santa's Dream World, yeah, I wish it was winter time right now, but I'm not in a Christmas mood. It's too hot. Besides department stores, look at shopping centers for air conditioning. The Oculus, with its striking architecture, also houses a sprawling shopping center that provides a cool escape from New York City's summer heat. Le District at Brookfield Place provides a sophisticated escape from the summer heat. It's chic, it's air-conditioned, offering diverse culinary options and a comfortable environment to relax and recharge. It's a board game store. Really for my husband because he's into board games, but I'm going to take advantage of the free air conditioning. Oh, it feels so nice. It's ice-cold air conditioning. Remember, it doesn't cost anything to look. I mean, I know I won't be spending any money, but my husband will. Whatever he spent on Marvel card games was worth it to spend some time in air conditioning. But you don't always have to buy board games. You could stop at a board game cafe and get some drinks or sit down to play a board game. Here we are at the sister store, the Brooklyn Strategists. I don't know much about games, but I do know about food and drink. Not sure what the etiquette is, but this table was free, so that's where I'm putting our number and waiting for our drinks. The objective of this game is simple. Just get out of the heat. It just finished raining, but remember, we're in the middle of a heat wave and it's humid. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to the beach. When the city gets too hot to handle, remember, New York City has beaches, real ones. We took the subway to Brighton Beach. I'm gonna do it. Gonna go to the water there. I'm not worried about getting these sandals wet. They're saltwater sandals, meaning that they're supposed to get wet. Gonna try to dip my feet in there. Oh yeah, it's a little cold. A little cold. I normally hate cold water, but I'll take it. All these locals have the same idea of escaping the heat at the beach. It's only 10 a.m. and it's 93 degrees. It's gonna get hotter. With the temperatures later peaking at 100 Fahrenheit, the strategy is gonna be to do indoor activities. So most people would go to a museum, and as you know, There are plenty of museums in New York City. Or you could do a pop-up attraction. Yes, there are all these pop-up exhibits, so that gives you about an hour's opportunity to escape the heat. Typically, how I look up these pop-up exhibits is on the internet. I'll look up on apps such as Fiverr is for chores. So this morning, we're gonna head to this pop-up exhibit for Hermes. Yes, Hermes. The brand that has the famous Birkin bag that nobody can get unless you spent like 20 grand on scarves and other bags and shoes.
You can look up pop-up exhibits on apps such as Fever, Eventbrite, Time Out New York. However, Facebook got me with this for the Hermes pop-up that was free.
We don't have a reservation, so we're gonna walk in. But when I went online to make a reservation, they didn't have any tickets available. Let's hope this works. Walking in, although it would have been better to have reservation. Luckily, they allowed us into the walk-in line. I'm surprised there's a lot of people in line, so I guess their social media ad thing worked. But you know what? I'm glad that we got to wait indoors in the air conditioning, because that in itself is already worth it.
The Hermes pop-up Mystery at the Grooms, a scavenger hunt set inside a blissfully air-conditioned warehouse. The mission was to find hidden horses printed across their products. But honestly, I spent more time marveling at the craftsmanship and design than solving the mystery. Look, it's a mini horse. There's a horse printed on that blanket behind the Birkin. How much for that Birkin? Way more than I earn off of YouTube, LOL. For an hour, I could comfortably ogle at the expense of goods without feeling intimidated like I would have visiting one of their flagship stores. Luxury meets indoor adventure with AC. Too bad this pop-up isn't permanent.
This is the only Hermes thing that I own, and it was free. I thought the exhibit was a lot of fun. It was creative with its product placement, and that it was an ingenious way to get the brand recognition out. But most importantly of all, it gave us about an hour of refuge from the heat wave and the sun. And it was free. So that was the first pop-up I've been to that was free, because otherwise all the other pop-ups I've been to, there's some sort of small admission fee or a long wait. Remember, one way to escape the heat is to look for a pop-up exhibit or a museum.
If pop-ups aren't your thing, there's always museums.
Get some water because it's another hot afternoon. It's noon, yes, 12 o'clock, and it's 95 Fahrenheit. We have several hours before we have to catch our flight, so we need to escape the heat for the afternoon.
At this point, we had taken over 12 trips on the air-conditioned subway that the trip to the museums that afternoon were free.
Oh gosh, it definitely is much hotter up here than back down in the subway. This afternoon's escape, we will be going to the museum at the FIT. No, I don't mean to get fit. I mean, I already ran my 3 miles this morning. I meant the Fashion Institute. After all, New York City is one of the fashion capitals of the world. So where else to go check out some really cool displays of fashion than at the museum at the FIT?
Now this is fast fashion I can get behind. Admission at the museum at FIT is free. While some of the other major museums in New York City have an expensive entry fee, you could find some museums that are free or low cost.
The featured exhibit for this afternoon is something called Syndicate 16. Basically, it features the works of 16 graduate students going for their MFAs. I know this is getting you all excited. They have board game design. Oh, this is so cute. I totally would have gone for this book as an Asian American kid growing up and not seeing too many characters that look like me. So just a reminder, check what exhibits are going on before you go.
Because what I really wanted to see was works of fashion, which the exhibit was unfortunately closed until September. So if you're in town for Fashion Week, make a stop.
However, I did enjoy this free exhibit showcasing the graduate students' work. I didn't have to pay for admission, the price was right, and we got out of the heat for a little bit.
And while the museum at the FIT was free, admission to the New York Transit Museum, the one in Brooklyn, not the gallery at the Grand Central Station that we visited yesterday, or the gift shop down
in downtown. The admission was only $10 per person. Not a bad price, but you do have to make online reservations, so I quickly got online and just booked tickets for the next hour.
You know the tip by now. Take advantage of the subway for its AC and rack up rides so they are free after your 12th trip.
Best of all, the ride was free because we had already gone on 12 subway rides in the past few days. How cool! The entrance to the museum is like a subway entrance. I mean, I get the joke.
When the sun was relentless, we found the perfect underground escape. The New York Transit Museum. Housed in a decommissioned subway station in Brooklyn, it was cool, literally and figuratively. Between vintage train cars and old school ads, it felt like time traveling with air conditioning, like this ad to Coney Island. I will make a separate vlog about the New York Transit Museum, so make sure to subscribe to my channel for that vlog.
For 1917, this design is pretty sophisticated. I mean, they got cushioned seats. Now, whether or not they were comfortable, who cares? They were at least cushioned, and they have handles and a ceiling fan. Overall, this was a great way to escape the heat for 2 hours. Not bad for $10.
New York City is densely packed with theaters. One of the best ways to escape the heat? Sit in a dark, air-conditioned theater. Whether you go see a movie or a live stage show, you have at least 2 hours of escape. We had booked our tickets 2 weeks before our trip, but for last-minute seats, you could try the Today Tix app or visit the TKTS booth in Times Square or Lincoln Center for same-day deals.
No, we're not going to see Operation Mincemeat, but it seems popular. There's a long line, and they're kind of blocking the sidewalk.
That's right, we're going to see Buena Vista Social Club.
I'm just glad we're going to have some air conditioning for the rest of this evening. Yes, it's the hottest ticket in town on the hottest day of the year.
One of the coolest experiences of the trip was seeing Buena Vista Social Club on Broadway.
El clima es caluroso, pero esta obra es más calurosa.
Sitting in a chilled theater while being transported to 1950s Havana, the perfect summer night escape. You know, the ironic thing is that the heat wave ended after we left New York.
This weather during the heat wave reminds me a lot of Singapore, especially of the humidity. And because of that, it's made me crave for a hawker, just like in Singapore. So we're here at Urban Hawker. That's right, it is the only Singapore hawker market in New York. We've gone from one urban center to another. So yeah, Singapore, very popular with its street food, and now it's come here to Manhattan. Just like in Singapore, where you can get all sorts of food. So you can get Indian food here, Indonesian food, Filipino food, and more importantly, it's a giant food hall, which means it's air conditioned, it's covered, and a great way to escape the heat. Unlike any other sit-down restaurant where, yeah, there is a limit to how long you could stay, not here. This is a whole community setting. So you can take your time to eat, or perhaps you're going to take a lot of time just walking around and looking because there's so many choices here. This is the Singaporean Hokkien Mee. I know it looks like something hot, but hey, this is what they eat in Singapore, and it's more humid there than it is in New York City. And to cool off, I got an iced yuzu green tea. As far as my husband, he got his laksa, and then we're going to split a rambutan salad. I know it looks spicy and it looks like you shouldn't eat this on a hot day, but guess what? He's going to sweat, and that's going to cool him down. And of course, the rambutan salad is refreshing. But most importantly, we're eating indoors, it's air conditioned, and we can take as long as we want here. To another successful trip to New York, even though it was during the heat wave, but we're staying cool.
So do an internet search for other food halls in New York City. Your body and appetite will be grateful. New York in the summer is no joke, but with the right strategy, it's actually kind of awesome. You move slower, you notice more, and you find cool pockets of the city you might otherwise miss. So whether you're exploring museums, chilling in a food hall, jumping into the Atlantic at Brighton Beach, or hunting down AC like it's gold, New York City has plenty of ways to beat the heat. If this helped you, hit that like button, subscribe for more travel tips, and let me know in the comments what's your favorite way to stay cool in a big city.